Hi, it's Angela from Love, Live Holistically. Now, in the last video I did, we talked about the subject for this year. Now, the subject for this year, along with the other videos that I do, will be about men leaving their partners and having to leave their children behind. We wanted to know what was that like. We talked about, or asked many questions about visiting. What was that like? Arranging to visit your child. Making the appointment, as it were, and then your partner, for example, saying, well, do you know what? That day is not good for me. This is after you've paid 40, 50 quid for a train ticket because you live 60 to 100 miles away from your child now. Not everybody drives. We also asked the question, what do you do when you actually get there? Depending on the age of the child. We're going to ask some more questions about that in a minute. So we want this to be a discussion. So please leave your questions in the comments below. What is it like? We're not here to talk about why you broke up. And I have to admit that I was one of those women who took their children away. So it's a learning curve for me too. Now, in this video, again, I'm asking questions. Now, the question is, what happens or what is it like when you actually do get to visit your child? Now, depending on how old the child is and where you live, where do you go? Do you go to the park? Again, depending on the age of the child, do you go to the park? If the child's younger and you don't have a car, what is it like going into the baby changing rooms? What's a relationship like when you have that one-to-one with your child? Again, depending on the age of the child. Now, I do understand that when you was in the relationship, perhaps with the child, this is just a scenario, you, for example, was dad or is dad, and you're just there. Mum does all the caring, well, not all the caring, but mum does most of the caring, and you're just there. You're present. What is a relationship now like? Now you've taken the child out of the home and it's just you and the child. What's that like? Again, depending on the age, you may be able to speak, but we want to know. We want to discuss this so that it may help other fathers out there that are going through the same thing. So it's just a short video to ask you, what is it like? Where do you go? Depending on the age of the child, what do you talk about? I mean, you can only sit in McDonald's for so long. Do you take the child, for example, to relatives? And how does the ex-partner feel about that? Perhaps you take the child back to your house. Perhaps you have the child for maybe the weekend or a few days during the week, getting them to school, picking them up. What's that like? You're now a lone parent for a day or two. What's it like? Leave your comments below and we'll discuss it. It's there to help. Before I go, I want to remind you that I have a free ebook and it equals called Find and Follow Your Passion. I also have written a few other books, but the latest book is called Lena Body. Again, I'm not too sure if you can see it. Okay. There you Go. And it's about the body. It has a character in it called Lena Body, and we follow Lena from baby up to teenage, where she was somewhat smart. Her parents would take her to all these clubs like ballet, tap, and when she got old enough to realise that, do you know what, I can take myself to these, or her parents allowed her to get to these after school activities, Lena would write a letter to whoever's hosting these clubs, and say something like, due to unforeseen circumstances, Lena will no longer be attending this club. And Lena would pocket the money, go off with her friends and buy alcohol. Alcohol became a friend to Lena all through her teenage, right up until she was about 32 years old, using it to self-medicate. We watch as Lena deteriorates and gets back on her feet. But as the book is about the body, it asks questions like, where does your feet take you? Are you happy where your feet take you? What do you put your hand to? You might be, for example, in a job that says that has you working in an abattoir when really you want to be vegan or vegetarian. It's a little bit incongruent to what your soul is telling you. What does your arms do? Do you take up arms? What do you hear? What do you listen to? What do you say? You know, when you're talking, are you mindful? It's all about the body. So there are body bits from your private parts to your head, and of course your feet, as I said. Where does it take you? Interesting reading. Now remember, as always, to love, live holistically, and I will see you on the next one.